Welcome back. On the table tonight, we will be discussing the findings of the 2024 UN Sustainable Development Report. Now, the report paints a concerning picture where only 17% of the Sustainable Development Goal, or SDG targets, currently on track globally. Now, this is an important issue that hits close to home here in Malaysia as well. So the country has made some progress on the SDGs, but I believe significant challenges remain challenging. So in further elaboration with regards to this matter, with us tonight, we have Nur Rahmah Othman, the Senior Director of the All-Party Parliamentary Group Malaysia, or APPGM, for SDG. Yeah. Now, thank you very much for coming to the studio.
Thank you so much.
Now, before we move on, right, I'd just like to ask you, before we go deep into discussion, could you briefly explain what is APPGM SDG?
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me. So the APPGM SDG, as it stands, is All-Party Parliamentary Group Malaysia on Sustainable Development Goals. It's actually a bipartisan group established by the Parliament of Malaysia since 2019. And this group actually has been mandated to undertake the localization of SDG at the parliamentary constituency level. So the composition of this group actually involves the parliamentarians from both the government and also the opposition and other stakeholders.
Now, aside from that, I'd like to ask as well, according to the UN 2024 SDG report, how has Malaysia been performing in terms of achieving the SDGs? And what are the areas where Malaysia has made significant progress? And where are the challenges?
Yeah, I think the report rightly mentioned that half of the 17 goals are actually showing a minimal or moderate progress, while over a third or either at stall or regressing in that sense. And I think with just 6 years remaining to achieve the SDGs, I think the progress has been alarmingly insufficient, with only 70% of the targets currently on track. So, but for Malaysia in particular, I think according to the SDG index, Malaysia ranks 79th out of 166 countries, achieving an SDG index score of 69.32%. And I think it is not too bad, personally, for me. I believe the more important issue is for us to determine what actions we are actually taking to address these problems, rather than, just sweeping them under the rug in that sense. So Malaysia has made notable progress in certain areas, but of course the similar trend to the global level, which we are facing some sort of the same challenges in other areas as well. So we have made significant progress in quality education, industry and innovation, and reducing inequalities. However, we are facing challenges in climate action, life below water, life on land, and peace, justice, and also strong institution, which is SDG 13, 14, 15, and also 16 for this matter. I think what we are trying to make a point here is that when it comes to quality education, for example, I think Malaysia, we have shown improvements in providing access to quality education in achieving higher literacy rates. For SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, we have made a lot of advancements in infrastructure and development and also innovation. SDG 10s, we are pushing to actually reduce income inequalities and also promote inclusive social policies that have been somewhat successful, I would feel, at this point in time. Yeah.
Aside from that, when it comes to, you did mention that Malaysia is currently at 79th, right? Out of more than 100 over. I mean, it has been taking us so far to reach this point.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain challenges as well that we are facing currently. So, which brings up to the next question that I have. The report mentions that challenges in certain SDGs. What specific obstacles has Malaysia faced in these areas, and what are the strategies in the country employing to address this?
Yeah, I briefly mentioned about climate action just now, SDG 13. So I'm just going to take this as an example. So when it comes to climate action, of course, it's the challenges or the obstacles in terms of the high carbon emissions from industrial and also economic growth, which is the rapid industrialization that has led to significant increases in greenhouse gas emissions, and also the country's reliance on fossil fuels energy production actually contributes heavily to our carbon footprint. The other area is in terms of the transportation sector, which is, I would say, a major contributor to carbon emissions due to the high number of vehicles and also insufficient public transport. But moving forward, of course, we can't really have everything. We have to lose something in order for us to get something. So I think the most important thing right now is how we can actually strike a balance point between minimizing the impact in terms of the losing part of things. So for SDG 13, I think what we can actually be focusing on and the government is pushing on right now is in terms of we are trying to increase renewable energy share, which we are aiming to increase the share of renewables in the national energy mix to 20% by 2025. And also the Green Technology Master Plan and also the National Adaptation Plan. But Otto, I think when we're speaking about the obstacles and challenges, I think we have also to look at things in different spectrum, not just the goals in particular, but the overall implementation strategy to achieve the goal. I think from APPGM SDG experience, if I could share very briefly, we feel that there's still rooms for improvements when it comes to political dynamic in that sense. So we have to actually, we need to put aside any political sentiments in order for us to push the agenda forward.
With regards to, you mentioned about transportation, it's comforting to know that we see a lot of electrical vehicles now here in Malaysia, trying to cut down on carbon emission and all that. But when you talked about striking a balance between carbon emission and using electrical vehicles, what kind of challenges are we looking at aside from all the political aspects of it, like agreements and also policies? What else are we looking at?
I think mostly when it comes to the facilities, the availability and the readiness of the facilities, that we have to look into it first thing first before we are actually, I mean, we are moving towards that. We're getting there. It's just that we still need to, to see through how we can actually improvise in terms of the facilities, readiness and availability for that one.
Lovely. Puan Rahma, the report emphasized the importance of multi-stakeholder partnership and in achieving the SDGs. Now, what collaborative efforts have been undertaken in Malaysia involving the government, also private sector, civil society, not to mention also the international organizations, to support the implementation of SDG?
Yep. I think I briefly mentioned about APPGM SDGs now. I think this is one of the initiatives actually from the government of Malaysia, particularly from the Ministry of Finance, which they are funding for our APPGM SDG since 2020. We are actually, we have been covering the localization of SDG at the parliamentary constituency level since 2020. Now we have so far covered about 115 parliamentary constituencies, and we are aiming to actually complete all 222 constituencies by 2030. So we have just also published our annual report, which has all the activities that we have done, including the issue mapping, the community-based SDG projects, the capacity building, policy advocacy, impact evaluation of our work. So you can see that it's actually a very good initiative put forth by the government to actually fund this particular work to turbocharge the implementation of SDG in our country, Malaysia.
Now, is this report available for the public to actually, purchase this copy?
Not purchase. It's available in our website and also in Parliament website. We launched it on last June 25th. We have circulated this in the Dewan Rakyat. So the MPs actually has full access to this particular report. So you can see very diverse activities we're doing, including the research, the issue mapping at the local level to understand the local needs. Then we identify the solution projects to actually solve the short-term issues. Then we also has the capacity building programs to actually increase awareness and also knowledge about SDG to the local people, local groups, to the government agencies, and so forth. We also have the other component, which is the policy advocacy component, which we are looking into how we can actually bring up the issues that we gathered from the ground to actually find a long-term solution and also policy interventions at a higher level. So we have been actively undertaking our roundtable discussion also for the past 2 weeks in Parliament with the involvement of the MPs themselves and also the relevant agencies and also ministries looking at the issues and finding solution on the issues.
Yeah, that's great. Now, all the information that you have just mentioned is available on this particular annual report and also the other findings as well with regards to policies and all that, the initiatives that has been done so far in Malaysia. And you've held this position for as a senior director for almost a year, but before this you were very active as well in this SDG. Now, with our final question, because we are limited to time, I'd just like to ask this final question. As Malaysia works towards the 2030 deadline for the SDGs, what are the key priorities and also targets that the country has set for the remaining years, and what additional policies or programs are being considered to accelerate the progress?
I think one part we can look at the targets to achieve the goals. Just now, I think those goals that we feel they are a bit regress or stagnant, those would be our key priorities, like climate action,
transportation,
that's right. Economy and social inclusion. Those are the things in terms of the goals. But I think from APPGM SDG point of view, we are actually embarking on our district multi-stakeholder task force to actually solve the local issues. This is a collaboration between APPGM SDG and also Yayasan Hasana through the funding from Ministry of Finance Malaysia, where we are setting up a multi-stakeholder group or task force at the district level and get the relevant agencies to sit together and find solutions to the problem. And of course, it's district tailored, and it is accordingly to the actual needs of each locality that we are actually covering for this initiative. For Malaysia as a whole, I think we have to look at the 12th Malaysia plan and also the SDG roadmaps that we have already published before, and moving forward, we would have our third phase of SDG roadmap for Malaysia.
Well, thank you very much for being here and also explaining all the details that is required, especially when it comes to the annual report as well. I appreciate it so much. Now, it seems that that's all the time that we have for now, and thank you to our guest today, Nur Rahimah from Parliament, for the valuable insight as well.